You have made it up to Basilique du Sacre Coeur, Montmartre's beautiful basilica. Standing on top of the highest point in Paris, the hill of Montmartre, the basilica looks out over the beautiful city and has become one of Paris' most characteristic landmarks. This Roman Catholic basilica is by many perceived to be an old basilica, much in the same way as Notre Dame de Paris, but this is not the case. The basilica is actually rather young, considering it was built in late 19th and early 20th century. The building was constructed in order to honor the 58,000 who lost their lives during the Franco-Prussian War, a war that France lost disastrously. It was also built to inspire faith into the French people who struggled during what was a very trying era, not only with the defeat in the war, but also with the turbulent time in Paris after the defeat with the rule of the Paris Commune. The Paris Commune was a workers' party who ruled Paris for 2 months in 1871. It did not take long before conflicts and fighting began between the ultra-Catholics and the Royalists, who were backed up by the French army. After the Commune had lost the bloody battles, the Archbishop of Paris ordered the building of the basilica as a way to expiate the crimes of the communards. This, of course, caused much controversy, as both sides in the fighting had committed horrible crimes. One Parisian called it a lunatic's confectionery dreams, and an offended Zola declared it the Basilica of the Ridiculous. Montmartre had been the site of the Commune's first rebellion, and the hill a religious site for a long time, so the place for a new basilica was obvious. Even though the basilica had a somewhat troublesome history, it is today loved and adored by almost all Parisians. The architect of this beautiful piece was Paul Abadie, who won the architect competition after beating 77 other architects. As you can see by looking at the basilica, its architectural style is very different compared to other churches in Paris. Instead of being of neoclassical or Gothic style like Notre Dame de Paris, the Sacre Coeur is inspired by Eastern Byzantine architecture. The most obvious sign of this is the fact that the basilica is domed by 3 big domes. Before construction started, a law of public utility was passed to seize land at the summit of Montmartre, and in 1875 the foundation stone was laid. The passing of a law to seize the ground further caused controversy to the construction project, and the matter finally reached the Chamber of Deputies, where the law was rescinded. However, by this stage the construction of the basilica had come such a long way that it was allowed to be finished. The architect Abadie never got to see his basilica finished, as he died not long after the foundation stone had been laid. 5 other architects carried on with his plans, and the basilica stood finished in 1914, 39 years after the start of the construction. However, due to the interference of the First World War, the basilica was formally dedicated later in 1919. The total construction cost was estimated at 7 million francs, which was raised to a large degree by private donations, both from rich and poor. A large part of the money came from visitors and pilgrims who visited the provisional chapel and the construction site. As you can see, the basilica itself is very white. The Sacre Coeur is built of travertine stone quarried in Château Landon. The frost-resistant stone constantly exudes calcite, which ensures that the basilica remains white even with weathering and pollution. Even though the architectural style was not typically French at the time, the Sacre Coeur has many design elements which symbolize nationalist themes. One example of this is the two statues you can see above the main entrance. If you stand in front of the church and look towards the entrance, you will have the French national saint Jeanne d'Arc to your right and King Saint Louis IX to your left. Between and above the two bronze statues, you will see a statue of Jesus welcoming you into the basilica. Below Jesus, you can read the Latin phrase Cor Jesu Sacratissimum, which translates to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. In French, Sacre Coeur means just that, Sacred Heart. The Sacred Heart is a symbol of the love Jesus had for all humanity. While the outside of the basilica is beautiful, the same holds true for its insides. The inside is open to the public. Just make sure you are dressed somewhat appropriately. The most prominent part of the inside is the mosaic in the apse, entitled Christ in Majesty. The mosaic is truly majestic, being the largest in the world. It pictures the Sacred Heart of Jesus, worshipped by the Virgin Mary, Jeanne d'Arc, and Saint Michael the Archangel. The basilica can also boast of having one of the largest free-swinging bells in the world, as its bell Savoyard weighs an impressive 19 tons. What many people do not know is that it is also possible to climb the main dome of the basilica. On the same side as the Saint King Louis IX statue, the left side of the basilica, you will find the entrance to the crypt and the staircase to the top. While the 300 steps are tough to scale, it will give you a magnificent view over Paris. Many say it's the second best view possible in Paris, only beaten by the top level of the Eiffel Tower. On a clear day, you can see as far as 48 kilometers.